Good evening, everyone. You know how I know this is going to be a good show? I've got Brandon Valley here. I've got Brian Horton here. And I've got double cows here. And that's really the thing that makes it happen.
So you have the B team and the cows. Perfect.
Moo Crew represent. Moo Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Moo Crew is the best crew.
Oh, I just like that during the intro on YouTube, the cows were just overlaying everything.
Yep.
Hanging out in the corner.
I may or may not have meant to do that. The answer is I did not. The last time I did mean to do it when Tom was just staring off into nowhere, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna put him on top of the intro. This seems awesome.
It's all right. So New Marines, plain and simple, right out the gate. Brandon has come on to just go with his salty bitterness.
What a sad man.
I'm channeling my inner Zoobs, and
you're channeling your inner Zoobs. Zoobs isn't as negative as you've been about this.
Because I'm passionate about it. Everyone knows what I think about Marines. What do you think about Marines, Brian? Because I haven't heard your opinion yet.
So I think they're going to be not a whole big change from the index, right? As we've shown through the Tyranid book, most of the data slates didn't change. There was a couple minor tweaks, but no major change. The new units are going to be where all that spiciness is, very much like in the Tyranid Codex. Everything for them is going to come down to the detachments and the detachment abilities in your playstyle, and whether you like that or not. I have a feeling there's going to be, 6 of the detachment abilities. 4 of them are going to be playable, good. There'll be 1 or 2 that are at the top of it. There will be then 1 that it's okay, and then there'll be 1 that'll be hot trash.
Yeah, but are they going to be pink Marines wearing a grandma dress like the ones we're showing right now?
That's how Brad dresses in the morning. So
true story. I always have my.
I've seen him at tournaments, and that's what he wears.
This picture comes from Heavy Metal, the Heavier Metal Facebook group. Cerebus XT Figurines put this up. I just thought it was fantastic, and we needed to share.
It's awesome. Again, on Thursdays, everyone send your stuff into the Discord. I'd love to showcase your models off. And whatever you're working on would be fantastic to check out. Love showing our peeps models. What you working on? Also, I do like Anna's quote of, Brian just thinks that Marines are biomass.
I mean, as I always say, Anna, Space Marines, crunchy on the outside, soft and chewy on the inside.
All right, we know absolutely shit about shit. This is complete guesswork. I'm not even going off leaks. I'm just going on what I think may or may not happen and some hopes and prayers.
I mean, so for the first time ever, we're getting a command box in a while that looks decent, right? Because they previewed the company heroes today, right? They're like, here's your company heroes, here's your cool stuff, here's what comes on your sprues. Not gonna lie, the flag bearer there looks pretty awesome. The fact that he's not carrying it with a giant power fist kind of is saddened somewhere in my head because I missed that model from 3rd edition, but they look really cool.
The thing is you know what I like? Big ass banner waving guys. Why have we got those in the sprues? They've showed us 4 sprues, by the way, as a non-modeler, each day looking at Warhammer Community and going, hey, is that another sprue they're showing me? Yay!
Looking at the sprues is nice because you get an idea of what war gear they can and can't take. And from all the sprues they've revealed, like Thunder Hammers, Lightning Claws, Melt-A-Guns, they're just gone. They don't exist anymore.
I don't know, though, because we had that for a long time where, I mean, think for how long you had to buy a billion different, Havocs for Chaos because they got 1 of each weapon, but they could actually take all 4. So that's not always been the case.
I think they're just going to streamline everything. If it's not in the box, you won't be able to take it because they shut off the Assault Marines or Assault Intercessors. And there's no specialty close combat weapons. I mean, there's a power fist, a chainsword, and a power weapon. But like, I want my sergeant to carry a thunderhammer. I want him to carry lightning claws, and I just
They can
don't think that's going to be an
carry-
option.
I thought they could carry thunderhammers because they come. The thunderhammer comes in the Iron Hands and Imperial Fist upgrade box.
But it's not with the flying assault intercessors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean they can't take them though.
I want my captain to have a thunderhammer. I would love my captain to have lightning claws.
what about this new sprue, the company heroes sprue that has? It looks like it has everything on it.
So from what I've read, I mean, there's a couple of teasers and whatnot. I mean, it's just 4 guys. You have a guy with a heavy bolter. You got a guy with a regular bolter.
I'm not talking about what it actually makes. I'm talking about the fact that you can get this bad boy and put these things in your squads.
You're never going to use it.
I'm going to use this big ass banner.
Killing 4 Space Marines seems pretty easy to do.
Well, it's 5 Space Marines, number 1.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's 4 and a captain.
Does that not make 5 Space Marines?
I think it makes 5.5
It's
Space
a 4-man
Marines.
squad.
You get a half Marine extra because you got that big ass banner. Big ass banners are awesome.
It also comes with the appropriate tactical rock.
Perfect. That's how I build my armies.
Everything has to now come with a tactical rock.
I
Doesn't have
100% cut all of those
I'm
off.
going for the wall on this because KR thinks the same way I do on this. Wouldn't it be better to just make people buy more boxes? I hate the fact that unit sizes of weapons being so homogenous. I want to be able to. I do be able to. I can't talk apparently. I want to be able to mix and match and make it make sense. There's just every time, because they don't cost any points, everything's the same. It means that taking 5 dudes with thunderhammers is the same as taking 5 dudes with chain swords. You know what I mean? So of course, if you have the option for taking 5 thunderhammers, that's what you're taking, or 5 plasma cannons, or 5 whatever. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. And it messes with army building. How many times have you literally got to 2005, 2010 points and you're like, well, I guess I'll just throw this list in the garbage because you can't just take off a gun or a guy or anything.
Well, and to add on to your point, Brad, like, all right, so if, like, the new Stern Guard came out, they had 2 guys with combi weapons, 2 guys with Stern Guard bolters, and a heavy bolter. I was able to take the liberty of converting those models into all Stern Guard bolters because I had the extra parts to do so. But if they're going to discourage that from happening because they're like, you must take this per unit, it takes all the conversion fun out of it. Like, I like building the army to match what I want it to do. 100%. I want to be able to convert those models. Like, I want to be able to use a bike captain using an Outrider bike. And right now, it's gone because there's no current model. And I'm like, there's captain models all over the place and 3 Outrider bikes. Make one. You've been able to make one since 3rd edition.
You know, I agree on this. You know, ready? I'm going with the old Meta Monday here because I'm going to agree. What he says is Brandon has a stupid face and he's wrong. The new Codex affects 6 factions that together have something like 150 data sheets and 5 new detachment of rules. There's going to be at least 1 build that slaps. I may have added stuff in there.
It sounds like you did. I don't think that gentleman is that mean to me like you are, Brad.
But I 100% agree. And by the way, again, we're going live at 11 on Sunday. Brandon's going to be with me. We're going to have the Playmaker, might have Kramer on, and I'm going to tell him how insanely wrong he is. And I'm going to be like, here's the 10 reasons why you're wrong about everything and life. I'm going to list all of them in order, maybe even alphabetically.
Now, wait, but Brandon has gotten one thing right, without a doubt. He married Eloise. He got one thing right. So he can't be wrong about everything.
Well played, right, sir. Right, okay. Well played.
So, Brad, you have the opportunity. Is Brandon right? That's the poll right now. Is Brandon right about Space Marines?
Yes, no, it's going to be, is Brandon going to be right? You don't know yet. We don't have the book yet, but I'm going to make a poll. Also, Anna, yes.
Right now.
Remember when you could hit 1985 and add a dude to a unit and beat 2000? Yeah, the good old days.
Remember when you could just add random Stormbolters onto your Rhinos and add extra points to it?
But, and this is where I'm going to go with do you remember when someone would forget to unclick something in Battlescribe, submit a 2001 point list, and then get DQ'd after going 8-0 and never shooting a bolt pistol?
Yeah, that's never happened to me.
Tapping the people. Really, it's one of those random things. But and the one thing I'll say is, I think Zuber's the last time I heard him say this, so I'm going to test it to him. Remember how it was like, hey, you guys don't like power level? Hey, guess what? Here's a new addition. There's no power level anymore. It's all points. But wait, it's all power level. You're just calling
it's
it points.
power level with extra stuff.
They literally went, hey man, universally the community said we don't want power level, we want points. And they went, no problem, guys. We listened to you. Here's points. Cough, cough, power level. They snuck it in on us.
For having tons of new players at my store over the last few months and a lot of new interest in the game, it has made helping people with their lists really easy and going, all right, well, this is the best war gear. Why? Well, because it does this, it does this, it does this. And it doesn't matter if you take that war gear or the war gear that doesn't do anywhere near as good. Oh, well, then I'll just take the better war gear.
Also,
yeah, Brad, your poll question is so skewed. Just so
no way.
It is. That is poorly worded.
For Fred.
That is a terrible survey question. So everyone knows what my opinion is. My opinion is
Fred wants to know what your actual take is. So give your take.
My actual take is that because they are not changing the data sheets, they're going to keep them as to what they were in the index. In addition to getting rid of a whole bunch of very valuable units, that Space Marines will be able to win games, but they are not going to be good. They're going to be a solid C+ tier.
C+.
C+.
I disagree with the C+. I have a feeling they're going to be a low A with one detachment, and then all the other attachments will be high B, with the exception of one, which will just be trash.
And which is that trash detachment? The first company one?
The first company one is trashed here. I'll give you that. There's going to be at least one that's trashed here. We'll say that, and there's going to be some, like, 2 strats that are just so OP bonkers that's going to be the one that everybody takes. Like, yeah. I don't care about the special rules. Those stratagems are crazy.
Yep.
C+ tier.
You're insane.
A strong 40 to 45% win rate.
Oh my god!
Right now,
you're out of your mind.
Always going to be around 45%.
You know what? This is why
Fred Fortman, Brandon is spot on.
He's not.
No,
this is why. This is why the poll.
45% win rate doesn't make you spot.
Thank you. This is why the poll is literally 73%.
Super chat. Brandon's take is C+ tier.
Oh, that is weak sauce, dude.
And because Lyle is like building an army based on units that currently exist but aren't existing in the future, like sniper scouts and thunderfire cannons.
No one is taking thunderfire cannons with you.
100% you are taking thunderfire cannons.
There is no such thing as a thunderfire cannon anymore.
They're gone. I'm so sad. Gone. I think this weekend, after I'm done painting a whole bunch of bases, I'm going to make a nice Legends display in my glass cabinet of the thousands of dollars of models that I just can't use anymore. It's going to be great.
Hey, look, I have enough, and Zuber can attest to this. I have enough metal scouts that from every pose they had for metal sniper scouts, which was 4, I can field a unit of 10. So I know what you mean by legend stuff getting hit. I mean, I've got a shelf full of Forge World Tyranids, the Democron in particular.
I'm going to go out here, though. I'm going to look at the wall, because Foreman's like, this data sheet edition, unless the detachment rule is bonkers. The thing is if the detachment rule is strong and the strats are strong, that's all you need with that, man. You know what I mean? We already looked at even a couple things. That Vanguard detachment I was looking at, I'm like, it's not OP, but -1 to hit. And then the strat for +1 to hit and +1 AP is a bonkers strat. If you can double up on that, like, what else are they getting with that? You know what I mean? Especially if you've got CP regen in there. If I can dump a couple strats out there every single turn, 1 for 1 and then make 1 0 and just smash out and get a great effect all the time, is that something that I could probably revolve an army around? Yeah, think about all the armies you literally just had like 2 strats that you used every single turn. You cranked them out. I don't know, maybe like Fire and Fade and Phantoms. I'm just saying that, like, you can make a lot out of an attachment bonus and some really busted strats.
All right. Well, I mean, that's why this Sunday at 11 o'clock, when we have a couple more teasers and more access to the Codex, that's why we're going to talk about Space Marines.
Hey,
Brad's gonna make me a list and prove me wrong.
Hunter, I'm gonna make you 2 lists. I might even make 3 lists. I'm gonna make 2.5 lists because I don't know if I can come up with that many ideas right away.
Hopefully, it doesn't have 9 gladiators because they've been sold out since January.
Whoa! I don't. Have I ever limited myself by models that I think you could get? No. Warhammer makes some models. Also, Deflux does have the right thing. Remember, Marines suck because the players suck. Pepperidge Farms remembers. Way to rock it out, Stu. Oh, Lyle coming in with a $10 super set. I'm still mad about this. Brandon has yet to explain to me how losing 240 points of toolbox units invalidates 1760 points of great stuff, but he swears to me this is the case, and he's got a stupid face.
I like Lau. I'm starting to like Lau more than Brad because Brad constantly just like slides in those insults like in every single comment.
What? I've never ever seen him insult you. I've heard him insult you, but I've never seen him.
Look, I'm just reading what's on the wall, man. I can't sit there. I can't stop what people say.
I also am reading the wall, and I just don't see those random insults. Maybe it's those glasses you're wearing.
I got YouTube. I got YouTube Premium. It lets me see a little extra.
Oh, okay, all right.
Along with the rose-colored glasses, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. It lets me see
all
things.
Right. So I guess let's do this. Lyle, post up your list. Let's talk about it. The 1760 points of your list.
You don't even know, bro. We're guessing right now. But I'm saying
if the
besides your legend stuff
and the points are going to remain the same, we should be able to make a determination of how good this list is.
I'm bringing some Vanguards and Inceptors.
Data sheets and points stay the same as they are now, right? The data sheets that currently are there. As we look at the Tyranids, there was a couple tweaks on, I think it's 6 of the sheets. There were some minor tweaks too, but they weren't big. You also have all the new units that you've not seen rules for and you've not taken into account. I have a feeling those assault intercessors are going to be bonkers.
You mean they're just assault marines though? What unless they're priced to move? If they're 90 points or 5, I could see that being reasonable.
I think they're going to be.
But if
way
they're 150,
they're not. If they're sub 100, you're bringing at least 2 of those, and you're going to clear people's trash out and move block with them. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you some lists.
I'm going to bring a good data
I'm bringing a Vanguard.
Good points value.
Yeah, well, that's all I want. I want that. What do you mean that's not a good data sheet? That's a good data sheet is made by points.
No one cares about chainswords.
I care about freaking points. I care so much about points. You're like, these don't have any special rules. They cost 11 points. You're like,
if the army is nothing but trash and everything's magically 25% off just because of the new Codex, it is going to be an A-tier Codex.
I'm literally going to the wall because it's 2 awesome insults. But 1, Brandon's short enough to read the underside of the text, the subtext, as it were. And then Corey just goes, no one believes you can afford YouTube Premium. But the Salamanders had that before. The Salamanders rumored to have a +1 strat for infantry is amazing. They always had that before. You know what I mean? That was the go-to strat. They could use it in melee and shooting before. That's one of the things I loved about Salamanders. One of the reasons I played them is they had that +1 to wound strat. It's so valuable. You can literally revolve a strategy around 2 strats. So it's a big deal on that. You know what I mean? Sub 100 means they are Raptors. True. And the other thing is that you can do stuff with that. I actually think that I'm going to bring triple Inceptors. I'm going to bring probably some Stern Guard. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to pew pew. I might even take Sam Dayton telling me to take suppressors again.
All right, so Brandon, let me ask you a question off the Marine beaten path. With the new models from last week, right, that they revealed from Warhammer Community, the new Necromunda models, are those immediately becoming crisis suits for Kroot?
Those Necromunda models are fantastic.
Yeah,
I do love them.
I was about to say, I have to say that is badass, by the way.
Those are awesome. I could see converting them into crisis suits. I just think it's a little cost prohibitive to do so. It's probably 2 models for like, what, $60?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's a little cost prohibitive. But they look really cool. Like I could see doing like a character.
It's just a bitchin' cool model. I just saw it and went, oh man, I want to Kroot in that.
Dorian, there's 0 chance Desolators could be 120 points again. we have to realize that there's a whole bunch of lead up time to print off codexes because it just takes so much time to do. And they were probably printed, what, 3-4 months ago?
Before the
FAQs came out?
They have to get sent to translation. You got to remember that too.
Yeah.
They have to get translated into multiple languages.
Yeah, there's zero chance or 120 points.
Every codex is at the printer 6 to 8 months before. It's plain and simple. They have to be that far ahead. It takes forever to get things.
They also have to ship them internationally. You know what I mean? It's just so there's a big thing on that. So I think that I agree though that with JCM says, which is I think that there's too many data sheets. I can't talk today. My head hurts. Data sheets, and you have multiple detachments, multiple strats in those detachments, and basically 200 and some pages of codex. I just refuse to think that I can't make something out of that.
Yep, I agree with that one. I mean, it's going to say the same thing in the back of the Marine book that it said in the Tyranid book. Take a picture with the QR code here to go to the current points, because the points in that book in the back are going to be different from what the
1,000%.
Ministarum points are.
I do like Carl Malone on this. Every time a new Space Marine model comes out, I get excited. New basing material for my Drakari.
Yeah, I would expect a new FAQ to come out with the Codex. I imagine because they'll have to do the points of the enhancements,
all Codex,
and they'll have to do any points or unit adjustments like the Desolators.
They'll also clarify things in unit detachments, stratagems and stuff like that, wordings, anything that got messed up. There's an FAQ with every Codex, so like 100%.
Yeah.
Let me know when that Tyranid one comes out.
Yeah. Well, there's supposed to be one. Okay, how about that?
Okay.
Thanks.
Exactly.
See, my concern is
an FAQ for that book. It's pretty straightforward.
But my concern is, and Anna points it out, hits it right on the head. There might be a competitive Space Marine list, but the tactical flexibility that Space Marines have had for the longest time, where you can run all Assault Marines, you can run all bikes, you can run all Dreadnoughts, and have a competitive list, that's out the window. I don't think you'll physically be able to make 5-6 competitive lists with the models that are available.
I will bet you there's 2 to 3.
I'm going to make so many this weekend. You're going to be blown away. I'm calling them all. Brandon has no idea what he's saying.
I want Space Marines to be good. I have 24,000 points of Space Marines sitting behind me, along with more that aren't even painted yet. I want them to be good. The problem is I don't think they're going to be good because they're going to be locked into models that you can't get, like Gladiators. That have been unavailable since January.
I can't work with that. Okay.
You can't work with that.
I can't be constrained by models you can show up with. 3D printer.
Brandon, win this tournament with models you physically cannot purchase.
3D printer go burr. That's all I'm saying.
And there's tournaments that don't allow 3D printed models.
Yeah.
What do you do then, Brad?
You paint over your 3D printed stuff and you tell them that it's not.
DQ'd.
Don't look behind the curtain. Just do Wizard of Oz that shit. Nothing to see behind the curtain.
Fred Portman, 24,000 points of Space Marines, 18K Legends. Pretty close. I mean, I'm going to be able to repurpose the Scouts. So I'll just put the Scouts on newer bases.
I was going to say, in your house, yes. Brandon has literally an entire cabinet. Your one cabinet is just Legend shit right now.
It's probably a cabinet and a half. And when we're saying cabinet, I'm talking with the IKEA Detolf cabinet with extra shelves installed.
I mean, look, between my bikes and your bikes, I'm pretty sure we have enough to field a company of bikes for Space Marines.
I'm ready to do a Sarah McLachlan commercial, make a TikTok about, the sad Scout bikes that are no longer available to be taken.
It's just what it is, man.
At least my Scout bikes weren't the new shiny plastic ones. Mine were the old metal ones.
I have metal and plastic. I mean, The ones that are in the cabinet are all plastic, though.
I'm going to give us a couple memes here.
Do it.
Lon coming with a $5 super chat. Brandon isn't mad Marines are going to be bad. Brandon's mad he can't be special little snowflake and weird people to death.
I do like my weird ass list.
You're like, look, man, the GW just sent you a message and went, look, we're tired of your dumb list. but require you not to play these. That is true. Weirding people to death is Brandon's way.
I do love my weird list.
The way of the weird.
Everybody was playing Deathwing Terminators last edition. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'll play bikes and do just as successful with them.
You do have so many bikes. Did your mom like it taken on a sidecar on the way to the hospital when she was giving birth to you? What happened?
That would explain a lot, actually.
I just think that I really do. The one thing I will get on board with you is I don't want there to only be Outrider type bikes, especially if they don't have options. You just have to have options on your bikes. That's a big deal. Like, that's why bikes are cool.
Yeah, they're cool when the sergeant has a power fist and runs in and actually does something.
And they got double meltas.
No one cares about 12 chainsword attacks. Sorry, they're pointless.
I care. I care about the chain fists.
Not chain fists. That'd be cool. Chain swords.
Chain somethings. Whatever the chains might be. Chain kind of things, you don't know what they are. They could be stuff, they could be things.
We'll just refer to it as chain disappointment.
Chain disappointment.
All right, so what detachments do we actually think are going to be fun? Because I know I'm negative. I know I'm hard on the new stuff that's coming out for Space Marines, but there has to be something.
There's no way that all the melee people aren't excited about the Stormlance. Advance and charge, fall back out of being touched and charge is... You can make something out of that. If you're Blood Angels, your Space Wolves, your White Scars, you want to go bang, you literally are super cool with that detachment. And we have to assume that at least one or two of the strats is legit. You know what I mean? So I think that that's going to be one of the pumpkin spice lattes. It's the basic bitch of Marines because you could just make it work. You know what I mean? It's not that hard to figure out your strategy on that. Move up fast, hide behind stuff, move up faster, and punch people.
But is combat in a place where, in 10th edition, where it can actually be reliable? Like, you don't see World Eaters winning tournaments with combat armies.
But they have.
Last edition.
I think the Vanguard Spearhead looks interesting to me.
Yeah. Also, 1+ saves totally throws it down. No one cares about chain attacks until Black Templar Crusaders throw 100 of them at you at AP3. But it's a big thing on that. It's so... I don't know. The thing is I think you're gonna have some options there. I do think if this Vanguard gets even one other strat, that I could make something out of that. -1 to hits, huge. +1 AP, big. Hitting, basically taking 17% less shots and getting 17% more is a big deal. Especially if I'm doubling that up. Every turn getting +1 to hit on 2 different units and +1 AP. And then everything in my army's -1 to hit. I think that's going to be legit. And then Dorian, I think what it is, we'll have to see what it is, but the Anvil Siege detachment might just put out bonkers amount of damage.
Yeah. Without seeing everything for the first company task force. I mean, yes, the Oath of Moment add-on isn't all that impressive, but how do you know? You don't know what strats they fully have.
Where I'm alone, I want to see this display board that plays 80s pop, because that's where I'm all about. Custodes were the only people that were really rocking melee, to be honest with you. We had big demons, which are gone, basically. Orcs have some melee, and Custodes were just the kings of melee, and then they got quad nerfed. Almost like Brandon walking through Europe quad fisting it. But they got quad nerfed. I don't think any one of those nerfs was enough to make the army bad, but like together, it's pretty hard to get around it. You can make a Custodes list now, but it's obviously way worse, even when you're not trying to just make big blocks of shit. It did, true. That was the leak, though. We don't know if we don't know if it's real, because if the leak is true, Anvil is Votan shooting on steroids, and maybe it's true, and that'll be the thing that you go to. I mean, remember when we first got Iron Hands way back in the day, in the days of yore?
Yeah, the days of yore.
That thing was busted. You know what I mean?
It
So
was ridiculously broken.
I mean, I refuse to believe that they didn't miss out of 200 and something data sheets that they didn't just completely goof something with a
I think we're down to 97 now.
97.
Yeah. Well, of course, we still have like 5 different lieutenants because they couldn't streamline that at all.
There's so many lieutenants. Why are there so many lieutenants, by the way?
But there's also a new lieutenant kit coming. You think they've had to have put some of those together?
No, because you have the Reaver armor, the Phobos armor, the combi weapon, and then you have the Primaris lieutenant.
The fact that the combi weapon guy is just his own thing. You're like, what changed on him? We gave him a combi. Couldn't that have?
But
just
he has
been
lone operative, so
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying why? Like
he's easier to hide with his flamer on the back.
Add a piece to his gun, can't target him.
He has that Tyranid shoulder pad. You just can't shoot at him anymore.
I don't know. I think you're going to be able to make some mojo out of this. I really, really think that. And I'm just saying that to be contrarian to you. I just think that there's a decent amount. Even the stuff we've just seen gives me the belief that I can put together some stuff. Also, I think that the Tyranid Codex was super cool. So if they use that same template that they used on Tyranids, I think you're going to be able to make a shit ton of books. And I have to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. They put out one book, and the book was cool. You know, yes, they shit the bed on the release of 10th, but they kind of fixed it 2.5 months later, and they put out a cool book to go with it. So,
like I said, I want Marines to be good. I just think it's going to be a mixture of being forced into taking units that you don't actually want to take, just because that's the hot choice. And I don't think you're like last edition. You could take an all Terminator army and you could make it work. You could take a Dreadnought army and make it work. You could take a bike army and make it work. I just don't think that is going to be a thing anymore. It's going to be one set style list where 1,700 points are all the same.
What is my challenge for Sunday then? So I have to make 2 wildly disparate lists.
Make interesting Space Marine lists that aren't just a gladiator base or a desolator base.
Well, you didn't say all of them can't be. So I'm going to make at least one.
You can make one because there are people who are going to want to go with a tank-based list, and that's fine. I just don't want to play that.
So I will make...
Would you be really happy if that first company list was good and you could run your Dark Angel Terminators, Redemptors, Dreadnoughts, the whole 9 yards, and have it look like the first company and be effective?
It would be more enjoyable. I want to have thematic Space Marine lists. They've had for years now, since like the fluff of Space Marines was written, 10 different 10 different companies per chapter. And each one of those companies has a different fighting style using different types of units. The fact that we're being forced into taking certain Primaris units to be good, it doesn't feel like Space Marines.
Look, I know a lot of people who love playing Space Marines who would not buy a Desolation Marine or put one on the board because they hated them and they realized that to be ultra competitive, that was a choice they were making. They were choosing not to take what was at the time the best unit for the book. I have a feeling that's going to be the same thing all over again. There's going to be certain units that, yes, are amazing. They're the good unit. They're the hot unit. They're the best. But you can still choose not to take them and still be competitive, just not, you're going to be X and 1. You might not be X and O.
I'm going to win so hard with this new Marines that I'm going to go X in other people.
You're going to win so hard.
I'm going to win so hard.
Jump to the next Codex when it comes out.
I mean, I do that all the time anyways. It doesn't matter if Marines are good or not. I will still jump to the next Codex right after that.
By the way, Brad, the list that I sent you that had the 120 Skitarii in it, that thing's a menace.
Yes, and I still hated it. I love Horde armies, and I still hate AdMech so much. The fluff is so dumb.
Oh, it's terrible.
Boo. I just booed my computer screen. All of the good things. Yes. But the big thing that I actually want. So I'm already calling it out, Brandon, that I can make by Sunday. I will make 2 completely disparate lists that both are awesome. Even awesome sauce. They won't be just awesome. They will have awesome sauce all over.
I'm ready for this.
They'll be so good that they're going to make other lists that you have better just by standing next to them. But what I'd really like to see is I'd like to see some actual separation and identity in the chapters, because of the fact that we we had so much homogenous Marines for so long. There you only had a couple outliers. I'd like to see that the compliant Marines have their own flavor, that they're different. You know, being Imperial Fist means something than being Iron Hands or Salamanders and stuff like that. So I'd like that to happen in this book. I don't know if it's going to happen right away in this book. Maybe they'll give us sub books again. But either way, the end result is I'd really like to see that the Marine chapters have, each one of them have their own identity. Because you're going to think in the lore, in all the novels, all the fluff that comes with it, all of them have different fighting styles that they utilize. So I'd like to see them be able to show that on the board. You know what I mean? I don't want people to just go, it's Marines, you know what I mean? And it's all kind of the same. I'd like to see, oh, I'm playing Raven Guard. That means something wildly different than if I'm playing Fists and stuff like that.
You remember when we were building lists back in February and March, when the Dark Angels list looked exactly the same as Iron Hands list?
Remember when I was going to Arkansas and I literally had a Iron Hands / Salamanders / Dark Angels list, and it literally looked like I went, "Hey Brandon, let me see your homework," and he was like, "Make it look different," and I just scratched out his name and put mine at the top. That was every list. It was just, they were all the same. You just got a slightly different bonus. So I'd like them to have their different identities. They don't have to be wildly different, but they should be different. The core concept of each of these chapters should be different.
And I hope that's the case. I want that to be the case, but it just seems to be that the fluff behind the chapters is being erased and they're all being homogenized.
I don't want homogenous. I want wildly different. I'd actually rather see them slightly be worse and be different from each other. Because remember, back in the day, you just couldn't take certain units in certain chapters because they just didn't run those.
Yeah, like White Scars can never take dreadnoughts. And now I see the GW website, posting pictures of painted White Scars dreadnoughts.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense. Like, if the White Scars detachment had battle line outriders, it would be way more interesting than just saying, oh, well, the battle line units are exactly the same, but they can advance a charge.
Sorry, we got to go to the wall. Kyle goes, yeah, I'm weighing in. Is Brandon sad about Marines? Yep. And then Kyle, Brandon is sad, and Brad thinks he's being silly. Lots of invalidating feelings tonight. That's what I'm here for.
So, Dorian, we don't know what the Iron Hands detachment does currently. I mean, rumor has it it's a lot of buffs for vehicles, but we don't know what it does specifically yet.
The one I'm interested in a lot is the Iron Hands one. Seems like it's just going to be a no-brainer, pretty good. But the one I'm interested on is whether the leaks are true about the Imperial Fist one. Because that's either going to be amazing or... Because that thing, depending on the wording of it, is either going to be awesome or it's going to be... That's never going to happen. You know what I mean?
Hopefully they give you a bunch of buffs to killing fortifications. as is tradition.
100%. Don't like the Archangels have access to every unit? Yes, I hate a bunch of that shit. Those guys just didn't use any of those. Also...
Like, they never had Stern Guard before this edition. And people are like arguing, like, well, what do Dark Angel Stern Guard actually look like? Well,
they look like nothing.
Surprise! They're now here.
They look like Dark Angel Company veterans.
You got to remember when Space Wolves refused to teleport because they were basically afraid of it. That was awesome. So they either basically shot them out of cannons, or they came down and dropped pods.
Was it 5th edition where the Terminators had to use a drop pod to come in?
Yeah, you could either do that. They had boarding actions when you played all the others because they legitimately shot Terminators at other ships, and then they would all be chain-fisted so they could cut their way into another battle barge.
Perfect. That's what we need.
What? That's when they also...
That's why we need Thunderfire.
They also didn't believe in psychic. That's why all the librarians were rune priests, because they harnessed the elements. So they didn't let anybody know that they actually had psychic powers. They're like, no, I'm making the wind and the lightning come. And they're like, that's totally psychic. So like, no, it's not. Don't tell anybody. They'll kill me.
Can Space Wolves have apothecaries again?
No, still can't have apothecaries. Yep. It's sometimes you just take a mortal wound and people just tell you to rub some snow in it and move on.
You'll be all right.
It's all good.
Yes. Now Space Wolves against Psychers is bullshit. Yes. I would like to punch Horus with all jump pack Marines. Guns are for nerds. The thing is you used to be able to take that all the time.
So, Brad, I have a good thing for you.
Hit me.
The other night, one of our new players was like, man, he goes, I know I'm pretty new to Warhammer and everything, but when I learned out that Horus's first name was Horus, it took a lot of bite out of the Horus heresy for me. And I'm like, what? He was like, yeah. He goes, I don't know. And I'm like, well, his name is Horus Lupercal, and Lupercal heresy just sounds terrible. He was like, yeah. He goes, but I just don't like that they used his first name. And I was like, all right, good enough. I was like, I don't know how to respond to this one. I'm just going to go over here.
I do love the fact that they consistently name characters, whatever their nickname is or anything. And then the actual legit translation of that will be exactly that. Like Abaddon. You're like, they named him Abaddon the Despoiler. Abaddon translates the destruction into spoiler. Why? So his name's Despoiler? So
yes.
So why was the Space Wolf episode of Bolter and Chainsword painful? I haven't seen a single episode of Bolter and Chainsword.
I've watched a couple of them. I can't get into it. The ones I like are the ones that have, what's the one that has, which one has the different one every time? Because I like that quite a bit. And some of them have been really cool. The Eldar one was super cool. The Chaos one was super cool. The Necron one was amazing.
The 2 episodes of Pariah Nexus have been fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, very good. Very good.
I'll check that out. The Necron, Hammer and Bolter. The Hammer and Bolter was really good with the Necrons. That was super cool. The Eldar one was super cool. You know what I'd really like? And this is not 40K. It'd be super cool if Wheel of Time would have anything to do with the books.
No. Why would you make a series based upon books and have anything to do with those?
Makes me sad. Yeah, exactly. True. And it goes, exactly. And it brings up another good one, what I was saying before. Like Canis Wolfborn, the Space Wolf, Wolfborn. Yes.
Well, he came out the same time where Murder Fang was like the rage. So like all the weapons had frost or murder in them for some reason for Space Wolves.
I love that you're like, all right, guys, this is super serious. This is what we do. You're like, what do you have a child name all your weapons? This is going to be called Big Boom Boom Murder Face. You're like, what? My 6-year-old was in charge of naming everything, guys. Real sorry about this.
Well, it's like, did they really just go Interceptor, Inceptor? What other thing can we name? Infiltrators. All right, yeah. What else? Incursors. It just felt like somebody was like, I really just want to use I.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Sorry. I will stay off the Wheel of Time. I was just so excited for that series, and then I'm like, boo on you. It wasn't even that bad for what it was. It's just that if I didn't know the book so well, I would have been cooler, I guess. Just poo. I lost my train of thought by being so sad about Wheel of Time.
That's a weird flex, but we'll allow it.
What's that?
That's a weird flex, you being sad about Wheel of Time.
I am. I do love Bill going, just join. Don't know Brandon's take on Marines, but I voted yes to the poll anyways.
And I replied, well, you are correct.
You love everything about that.
Misleading poll.
How is it misleading? I think it is totally truthful. This is 100%. I'm like regular media right now. Truthful, raw on spot, not biased at all.
Not biased at all.
I mean, we're 40 minutes into the poll and Brandon's argument, and he's getting walloped.
He's getting whooped.
Just wait till the Codex comes out. You guys are going to be like, wow, Brandon was right.
11 o'clock on Sunday, we are going to show Brad coming off the top. You know what? I think I got a Uncle Rico thing for you in here. I'm going to wreck you so bad. I can throw this ball and this Codex clear over those mountains right there. I'm going to make so many good lists. Maybe you're just like taunting. Maybe this is reverse psychology and Brandon does think that the Codex is going to be good. He just wants me to build multiple armies for him, but he's just taunting me, making me do it.
This is how I
this
secretly get coaching.
This could be a time where Brandon's like, I don't want to really work too hard. Maybe if I get Brad all worked up, he'll just build my list for me.
He is getting pretty worked up over it, so it might be working out for me.
I'm going with he's going to show up. He's going to have like 4 lists, all different detachments, and be like, "I got you," and you're going to be like, "Hey, thanks. Oh, you're right. These look good. All right, I'll be back later."
I
It's
feel
okay.
like
We'll have our boring soulless space marines that are all the same fucking
I don't
list.
even believe you now. I think you're Kaiser Sozeing me. Just doing work for Brad, and he's like, "Yes, let your hate flow." Bring back initiative. I loved initiative. Brad only puts bad models on the table, anyways. Bad looking.
With those finger painted models, yeah.
That's wrong. I put some of Brandon's stuff on the table.
Like he said, finger painted models.
Ooh, shots fired.
Pew pew.
Not true. He used suppressors. Goddamn suppressors. Damn you, Sam Dayton, making me take those suppressors.
Maybe suppressors will be a reasonable point cost too.
If suppressors are gone down and that Vanguard thing, I might actually take some suppressors. Pew pew.
Will you though? I feel like you're traumatized over last edition.
I am a little bit. So I'm thinking about it, but I don't want to take them. But if they're +1 hit and +1 AP, they sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Have we seen Outriders? I'll win money if they're a good cow. We haven't seen anything. Today is literally us wildly predicting and then just telling Brandon that he's wrong.
In my head, Outriders have to be good because they were in a box set that was produced as a starter, and normally the year of the starter, some of the stuff out of that box set isn't good, and then the next time around they're good.
I mean, they came out in the Indominus box. They've been bad for 5 years.
3, but okay.
Yeah.
Brad warps time.
I do warp time.
He travels through dimensions.
I do time travel.
Did you say Brad has dementia?
I mean,
maybe he might.
Yeah, I mean, you're also correct. I mean, all of those things were right. Some sadly were more right than others. Oh yeah, true. I love Kara goes, just take the cheapest units and multiply them. How Brad writes list. Anna immediately can confirm. I know a good value when I see it, damn it.
One of the things we've been talking about a lot lately is Noah arc lists, where you're taking two of everything.
Yeah, I do like that. A lot of my lists have been going that way, and they've been going that way for a while because I don't want to manny my lists up as much, you know what I mean? Because it lets you have more versatility. Because if you take 3 of everything a lot, I mean, there's going to be units that you do take 3 because they're just the efficient units that are super valuable. But I do find myself going more and more Noah's Ark because it usually just gives you more versatility to be able to handle different threats and stuff. If you go all in on just a few things, you don't have the ability to handle everything.
Now, Dorian, my logic is it's normally the year after the edition after the box set release comes out that a unit's good. So expect Screamer Killers to be amazing in 11th edition.
I would like to argue with Corey, but I'm pretty sure that this is accurate. He goes, pick up games of Brad is like he dumped the garbage can from behind David Buster's on the table. That broken shot glass is a Calvinist. Let's do this.
Yeah, Corey knows you. He hit that right on the head.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I think that we're going to be good. I think that I'm excited to get us. I'd really like to see us accelerate the codexes. Like 9th gave us a lot. Was it 9th or 8th where we got a ton of codexes right away?
It was 9th edition.
They both kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one was like way faster than the other, I thought.
8th seemed really abundant. 9th, we had a little rut after Drukari where there wasn't a bunch of stuff.
Well, we had COVID for a while during 8th.
There was shipping issues.
Yeah, there was all kinds of shipping. That's when Death Watch just didn't get played for 2 years, basically, because they came out directly as COVID was at its worst and everybody was in lockdown. Death Watch was so excited. Everybody's going to play Death Watch. It's going to be amazing. You can get 0 of this information, and there's no tournaments for 6 months.
I don't think I saw a Death Watch army during the entirety of 9th edition.
It came out at the end because everybody teamed it up.
A little bit.
Bunch of people teamed. It was a great team army at the end, but it's just no one played it at the time. It was just so few people because it did come out mid-COVID. It was crazy.
Well, that was 9th edition got destroyed by COVID.
Yeah.
Because you got to think the first big event after COVID was the first at ACO.
ACO. Yeah.
And that was the, Drukari heyday.
I'm still surprised that they didn't make ninth edition go one more year because of that. Because you basically had an edition that came out and didn't get its full due. You know what I mean? Because of COVID.
I mean, I would have liked to see it go another year because I felt like at the end of ninth edition, there were a lot of balanced books. I feel like we could have slowly started introducing some of the mechanics of 10th edition. It would have been a prime opportunity to do it. I just feel like the shareholders or someone told GW, hey, you need to release 10th edition now, like it was yesterday, because it just feels really rushed. Still,
I think that if they would have kept ninth edition and just put out the indexes and a rules supplement with universal special rules, we'd have been fine.
Universal special rules all the day, please.
I still want to know why. So they made a big mention on universal special rules, but there's lots of units that have the same exact rule, and they still have special names for it. And I find that frustrating to me.
If you have universal special rules, well, you can call it anything you want, and then it just at the end it is blah blah blah, disgusting resilience, and then they go universal gives universal special rule final pain. You know what I mean?
Which would be great,
whatever.
but that's not how it really is right now.
I know, but then I'm saying that's how you do it. With everything can have its own name, but then it references to the special rule, the universal special rule. We had universal special rules for multiple editions. It was super easy. You're like, hey, what is
seventh?
Yeah, what does boogity schmoogity doogity do? You're like, yeah, man, that's advance in charge. Yeah, whatever, cool. I don't care what it's actually called. It is this rule. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go through and read oh my God, in 8th especially, everyone had their own specific writing for going first. Sorry, not going first, but redeploying. And
yeah,
stuff
redeployment, scout moves, deep strike. It was all the same stuff, but slightly different.
Everybody had their own wording for it. It was so nuts. And then it was also in the main book. It also had like attacker moves at first. Well, unless your codex says something different, and then mine also says something else different. So let's just arm wrestle.
All right, Brad. We got 10 more minutes. What should we talk about? Should we talk about the fact you're going to be taking orcs to the next tournament?
Yeah, I got to do a new poll. Hold on. I'm ending this foolish poll.
I know I lost that poll because of your misleading question. It's okay.
It was so right. Is Brandon so wrong about Marines? That's a definite good poll.
That's a misleading poll question.
Not even remotely.
You need to take a class on statistics. That is a misleading poll question.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
That is ridiculous. I can't believe you would say something like that.
The poll is like, is Brad absolutely correct on 40K? Yes or no?
I mean, see, the people
That's
spoke.
a terrible poll question.
People spoke.
Terrible. All right, so you should take orcs.
I'm putting the
And
poll
here's
up
why I
right
think you
now.
should take orcs.
So I can get
We don't
shot
need-
in
we
the
don't need a
super
poll.
open terrain.
No, because you're having fun and enjoying yourself.
I can have fun with pew pew. Pew pew. That's how a man says pew pew.
I like how Chaos Space Marines are no longer an option.
I already took them off. I'm debating it down to this. Exactly. It's not a misleading poll question. It's 100% accurate. Fair and balanced, my friend. Are you voting immediately, orcs?
Start a poll. Is Brad so wrong about polls? Yes. I mean, he knows certain polls, but he doesn't know YouTube polls.
KR, question for me is the data sheets only updated if you code in the Codex code? So for the Tyranids, the data sheets are gone if you don't have a code. I would assume they're going to do the same for Space Marines.
Oh, how do I make the Discord show up? Exclamation point, Discord. Whoa! I'm on top of things today. Totally, my reading skills are so good. Y'all need more research, like me, middle-aged white male. We're just waiting for Andy to get back from Europe. He went to go watch the rugby championships in France. And then he's wandering about.
That's still going on?
No, it's ended, but they made a holiday out of it.
Okay. Well, good on them.
This girl is a huge rugby fan. That's how they met.
And he needs some time away from you, so it's perfect.
No one ever needs time away from me. You just need more time with Brad. I can't even continue with that. I'm already like, man, I needed some time away from myself. Jesus. So,
Carmelone, are you in the Death or Glory chats, or are you just interested in becoming a member of Death or Glory?
If you're interested in becoming a member, hop on our Discord, start getting involved in there.
yep, I already put it up. So we got the link to the Discord. It's super active, actually. There's a ton of shit going on all the time. So, and we've actually got a site to order the jerseys now, so you don't have to worry about somebody getting it. Yes, Corey, I've got the same problem with the GW app right now. It keeps telling me to log back in and then ask me if I'm subscribed, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Update your app. Even if it has auto updates on, just update your app. Typically, that fixes the issue. I had that with my Android device where I had that problem. I updated the app and it went away.
You know what? I agree so much, OnePlus saves. I hate the fact that they're putting the rules behind a Codex code. Just make it a freaking subscription already. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to buy every Codex. You know what I mean? But you need the rules if you want it to be if you want the app to be the thing that people use all the time in tournaments and for everything. You can't have things behind a paywall of specific codexes. If you don't want that particular army, but you want the rules and you want to use that, if you want people to use this all the time, especially in tournaments, you can't have a bunch of the information behind something that people don't want. I'm not going to buy the goddamn AdMech Codex just so I can.
So how many unique armies are there? 24, or is it 27? I forget.
26, I think. And that's not. Is that? Yeah. I mean, that's just a lot of books, man. Like, people don't.
If they're charging $60 a pop, I mean, that's a substantial investment in order to have access to the rules, and I can't justify that. Like, I hardly buy codexes now. Like, why would I buy all of those codes to get access? I'll just delete the app and use Battlescribe or Wahapedia, which is back online.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, but the thing is that the whole point is that they were trying to say they don't want you to go there. But then I'm just going to use Wahapedia in the tournaments, just like I did before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather use the app at the tournaments. Mm-hmm. But I'm not putting in. I don't even like it when I had all the codexes.
There are 26 codex books.
Yeah. So if you were to buy, assuming all codexes were out, they're all $60 a pop without tax
per.
Yeah, it's $1,500. That's insane. Because why would you spend that money?
How much would you pay a month for that access? Would you pay $10 a month?
Sure, I pay $15.
I think $10 is reasonable.
I think between 10 and 15 is a reasonable amount. I think they'd get more money in the long term if they did that.
Yes, because people also would never cancel because you don't even think about it. You're like, I gotta cancel that $10 thing.
I mean, as soon as they invalidate the Space Marine codes, I'm literally just going to go use a different platform. Why would I continue using that platform?
The thing is that if they just if they made it $10, I would just keep it forever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because I'd want access to all of it, because I want access to all the armies, but I don't want to have to purchase each and every codices. You know what I mean?
Because it's not only paying for the codex, it's also paying for the app as well, so you can build multiple lists. So you're getting double tagged, right? Like, you have to pay what, $7 a month to even build a list, more than one.
Yes. So I always look at it. So Warhammer Plus to me is I'm paying $60 a year. I get to use the app. I get to see their little bit of animation and stuff they do on that. That's fine. But I get a model. I'm paying my money for that model every year. Mm-hmm. And at their price point for a model, it's about what you pay for a model these days anyways. For a special character.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but if you're getting that and you don't have access to the codexes when they come out, then what's the point?
Yeah,
I don't just. There's not enough animation to keep it.
Just give me a subscription, and I will use the app all the time. They just once they start to get too many codexes out, you're also pricing people out of using the app. What's the point of using the app if you can't look up any of your opponent's rules? You know what I mean? Yeah. So
like, when Space Marines comes out, I'm probably gonna delete it off my phone. Like, I'm not paying.
That's exactly
for every single codex. Why would
I? Steven goes into it. The issue is you need the Warhammer app to verify your opponent's stuff, in my experience, and if you're not buying their codex, then you can't use it. So there's no point in using it anymore. You know what I mean? That's my issue with using it competitively. So, And on that note, people promote your stuff, and then we're waving, and then we're going to do a practice game versus Tom and Crawley.
Do we know what armies you guys are playing yet?
I think they're going to Tau it. Oh, I mean, it looks like Orcs is dominating Tau right now in my poll.
Yeah, because Orcs is way more fascinating.
Orcs is the best. MS Esquire. Oh, the big super chat. A bribe to say something nice about AdMechs and bring it to Michigan TT. What do you like about them? You know what I do like about them? The army itself. To be honest with you, I'm going to go full on since you bribed me. I don't like the fluff. The army itself is actually super legit. One, I think it might be the best horde army in the game. If you
Absolutely.
it's nasty as a horde army. And I don't even know what I would do currently to stop that. You know what I mean? With a decent save and invul plus a volume of shots. The other thing is that they still have different buffs and stuff like that. It's still a difficult army to play it well on that. So also thank you very much for that. But the AdMech army itself is a solid army. It also has it has all of the things that I want in an army except for the fluff. It's got 4 deployers. It's got some hand-to-hand. It's got horde possibility. It's got volume, and it's got some big boys like that are the big boy killing possibility, like chicken walkers and stuff like that.
I actually think AdMech would do pretty good on Michigan GT terrain because they're not doing GW format. They're not doing player. I mean, they're doing a modified player place, but they have to be in certain zones. And that means there's going to be lots of large fire lanes. There's going to be lots of big pieces where you can hide your models and work with. I think you'll be all right. I think AdMech, because it's more of a shooty army, I think you'd be pretty competitive in that venue.
Absolutely. I've sent Brad a list that myself and a friend of mine lamented about. There was 120 Skitarii bodies for the battle lines.
And that wasn't even the most you could bring on that, because you could Ranger and Vanguard them up. So
Well, it was what it was. It was Ranger, Vanguard, 10 in each squad, 6 of each.
yeah,
Right, and then
bonkers.
Plethoras of min units of the hand-to-hand, the Electro Priests, the horse guys, the jump pack guys. There were so many models in that army. I think it was near 200 models.
I feel like that would crush Eldar because they don't have enough shots to do
We were talking about that when Brian sent it over to me. I go, that actually might be too many models for about half the current armies in the game. Yep. Whether it's the people are going to start changing because of, obviously change with Wraith Knight and all that kind of stuff, but like it was so many units and so much stuff that I was just standing there going, I don't know what I'd do against this. I mean, because you could literally double wave it. You put 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You could just make an endless wave of walls of trash, and just on certain missions, especially if you went first, you just advance and move everything up. You effectively take all of your 4 deployers, jam them down your opponent's throat, move in advance, multiple waves of 10 guys, and you could just win hammer and anvils and stuff without killing a model.
Well, and those units that you're taking 120 of are what, OC2 base because of battle line? You can easily zero people out with all the cavalry that are infiltrating.
That's what I'm saying. Move blocking is so underrated, or so undervalued. It's so crazily good. You can literally just stop people from doing anything. It's just crazy. And that army has, like I said, scout moves, 4 deployers. It just has bodies. You could just outbody somebody to death.
And I apologize for the wall of text that it's going to be when it's way too big to put in the chat.
Well, the funny thing is that Tyler DeVries did that at one of the Toledo tournaments. I don't remember if it was last year. The GT did really. I think he won the tournament with it. Him and I were talking about it, and this is back in the day. I mean, it's a different edition on it, but in 9th, he just brought all of the Sulphur Hounds and the Cerberus Raiders and all that, and just bodies, and literally just brought so much shit, and he filled up the board, and it was just winning games because people couldn't get out of their deployment zone because he'd scout move on top of them and just literally was doing hardly any damage, but just going, enjoy sitting here forever. You're never leaving. Good times.
Brad, maybe you should play AdMech.
If you contact Brad, I know that's still in our chat somewhere, so he'll send that list over to you.
I'll just put it in Discord when I get off here. when we go off, I'll copy and paste it. I just think that there's a bunch of versions that you could play. I mean, I might put that on the table sometime soon. I need like a helper though. I can't play that many models for a full GT. I'll play.
Yeah, get movement trays, bro.
It's just so scary though, dude. It literally is like, even if you didn't kill anything, you could just win the game. You're like, you haven't been able to move. I've literally, like I said, Tyler, literally we played that or put it in play, put it on the board, and multiple times his opponent was like, turn 5 about to leave their deployment zone. You're just like, this is crazy. All of the craziness. So on that note, again, thank you for the super chat. And yes, I don't like Ed McFluff, but I sure as hell like that what the army does. It's bonkers. Whew. On that note, everybody, Queens wave us out.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
All right, remember, stay milky.